Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 3rd. We're just going to jump right in here, Aquarius. And in your current general energies, you have this card that says balance all dimensions of your life. And you also have this card that says new chapters require a new version of you. I mean, you know, do I need to say it, Aquarius? Pluto in Aquarius. It's going to be a major change, especially for you, but it's going to be a major adjustment for everyone. But what I would say is that now is the time. If you've ever wanted to kind of reinvent yourself, if you've ever wanted to be seen as, you know, being something more than you are right now, then, you know, now is the time to do that work. You're also kind of getting the benefit of, you know, you had Saturn in your sign. I always say just because a planet leaves your sign doesn't mean that you're done working with the energy. So if, you know, Saturn was in your first house, and so, you know, anything you can do, you can still work on first house things. Like first house things are how you present yourself to the world, how other people see you, things like that. That's just some of it, right? But again, you can still do those things. You can still work on how you present yourself, how you're seen. And plus, again, Pluto in your first house, obviously. This is a really good reading. Sorry, I didn't switch back, but there's a lot of good stuff going on here, Aquarius. And you know, I kind of see that there could be a lot of victories coming in for you. There's been a lot, you've been getting a lot of these truth cards here, Aquarius. I'm pretty sure in your last reading, there was, you know, something about a truth being exposed or a truth coming out because of Pluto and Aquarius. I would always say, like, number one, above everything else, right? Number one should be your own personal truth. Part of Pluto and Aquarius, I believe, is that we have to follow our heart, but we also have Uranus and Taurus, which is kind of like we have to, it's like heart plus values. And you might say that those are the same thing, but they're, you know, kind of not. And what I would say here is that anything you do to follow your bliss, it's probably not going to be easy. You know, it's kind of funny because even this morning I was watching a video by Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero's Journey, and he was saying something about following your bliss and how, you know, basically to, you know, slay the dragon inside of you, you have to follow your bliss because it's not easy, because it is hard, right? And so I feel for a lot of you, this reading is saying that you have to follow your truth. You know, your truth is the only truth. So I feel like that's what you have to follow here with the Five of Wands. And I feel like you have to take the risk to do it. Five of Wands, card of conflict and competition, but really it's a card of learning. So I feel like if you learn, you will be successful here. I also, again, we do have Mercury retrograde this month, and even though it's not until a little bit later in the month, you know, if you don't want to hear from the past, I would definitely be careful here, just because, you know, someone could be having some regrets. Someone could have thought the grass was greener on the other side, and then Ace of Swords is a good card, but you know, it does represent a sacrifice. And for some of you, I feel like someone sacrificed you for something else, and it was not greener on the other side. So, you know, I would be careful of that. You have the Ace of Pentacles here. Ace of Pentacles is like a big, bright, glowing opportunity. So I feel like there's a big opportunity coming in for you. Obviously, this could be love, because you do have a lot of love cards here. Lovers, Two of Cups, King of Cups, Page of Pentacles could be a new person. But what I would say is that it could be any opportunity, and I would just be moving towards it. I forgot to say you also have the Four of Wands, which is a card of marriage. Really, I feel like the Four of Wands is talking about freedom. Again, freedom is going to be a major focus for everyone until forever, because Uranus and Taurus. Uranus leaves Taurus in 2026, but it does not matter. Again, like I said, we don't just stop learning the lessons. We don't just stop working with the energy. It's like when a planet is in a sign, that's when we learn the lessons. But when it leaves, the universe is like, did you learn the lessons? Are you putting these things into practice? So what will make you feel more free is the question with Uranus and Taurus. Four of Wands, again, is a card of freedom. So I feel like it's kind of like asking you, are you doing more things that you actually like want to do in life, or are you doing less things that you want to do? And I would move in the right direction here, Aquarius. With the Five of Wands, you have the Fool. Yeah, definitely a new beginning. I mean, you know, again, you have that new chapters card. You have the Ace of Pentacles. These are, you know, the Chariot. These are all new beginning cards. You have the Page of Pentacles. And, you know, people keep saying, Chris, you keep saying the same stuff. And I'm always like, look at the cards. It's not me. It's like everybody keeps getting the Fool, the Chariot, the Page of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords. People keep getting multiple aces. It's like, I'm not going to just like sit here and make stuff up just to make my readings different. I mean, it is what it is. And what I would say here is that I feel like it's also a sign of the times. I mean, we are in a time of newness. Pluto entering into Aquarius, major planet. Takes a long ass time for it to move through a sign. For the most part, it's 21 years. Again, it's like 30 in Taurus. It's like 12 in Scorpio. But so it's different for every sign. But the average is like 21. So it takes a long time for Pluto to move through a sign. It's like whenever these generational planets move, we make some generational changes, like big changes. And so, of course, newness is going to show up. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, Six of Pentacles is like balance. I do feel like there's like a very balanced connection coming in for you. So again, for those of you that want love, looks like a very good week. And again, I did say at the beginning of the year that I really felt like starting in April, like pretty much right at the beginning, it would be a much better love time. That does not mean you will have love in April. I just meant that this year, 2023, that starting in April and then for the rest of the year would be a better time for love. So if you want it, I feel like there's something much more balanced here. I also feel like some of you need to ask for a raise or a promotion. I feel like if I said this to you, I'm not sure if it was you or someone else, but if I said this to you recently, it's like this is, a little bit of kind of like that energy of just waiting, especially going on the Four of Cups. And intuitively, it's popping into my head that like if you think you deserve a raise or a promotion, or if you want to ask for a raise or a promotion, I would go and ask for it with that Six of Pentacles. Sometimes I just feel it's like that type of card. With the Four of Wands, look at this. You have the Justice card. Definitely a balanced relationship coming in for those of you that want it. This could also be you seeing someone getting their karma going here. It's like you could see that someone is disappointed in their life, Aquarius, like someone that you are with. And, I feel like you could see that they thought the grass was greener on the other side. Really, I feel like this person was just lazy. I feel like they just chose the easy way out. So, and that's what I'm getting intuitively. And so that could be, going back to someone from their past. That could be them just picking a person who is easy. Maybe you were a challenge to them, right? And I don't mean a challenge in a bad way. It's just like sometimes I think, we all have certain standards. I don't care what anyone says. Everybody's like, no standards. I'm like, yeah, please. Everybody has standards, right? So it's like maybe this person, maybe you forced them to raise to a certain level and they just couldn't do the work. They're just lazy. So that's what I feel. There you go. Next, for your current situation, your present, you have this Dolphin card. It says, embrace your inner child, have fun. Yeah, I'm pretty sure last week as well, you had something about like being more playful, being more childlike. That's where we're going to get the best answers, is by being more playful and childlike. I even say that like for years after I had a big business failure, I was stuck for a long time. And it wasn't until I started going for walks that things really started moving forward for me. But it wasn't so much the walking as it was like I was listening to audiobooks when I went for a walk. It gave me a ton of ideas. I was able to take those ideas and turn them into something else. So it's like I think people don't realize how sometimes doing something that doesn't seem important, like walking, can totally change your life. And that's really what I'm getting here. You have the Lovers, the King of Cups, and the High Priestess. It could be a high priest. It could be a Pisces coming in for you. It could be any sign. This is a general reading. I would also say that Pisces all up in everybody's business, as I've been saying for weeks. It could just be all the Pisces energy. Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, two, pretty significant planets. One big, one Saturn is just, very powerful. So, I feel there could just be a lot of Pisces energy. But what I would say is that I feel a lot of you are doing a lot of thinking, and I kind of feel like you need to stop thinking. We go this way, Four Cups to the Chariot. The Four Cups is like, a card of contemplation and apathy, feeling like you don't have the things that you need to be successful. But the Chariot is kind of like a card of setting yourself apart. And again, your job with Pluto and Aquarius is to set yourself apart. It's everybody's job, but it's like extra your job because you are an Aquarius. If you happen to be an Aquarius sun. I would even say if you just have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, if you're an Aquarius rising, same thing. Your job is to like set yourself apart, which the Chariot is all about. But again, the High Priestess is like doing nothing. She has a lot of potential. There's no roof over her head, and that's the part of the card that represents unlimited potential, but she has to, take action on that potential. She has to kind of like do something. And, you have the Six of Pentacles, the Justice card. I always look at the Six of Pentacles and the Justice card as planting seeds, just putting a little energy in, just taking those first steps. You have the King of Cups. I feel like this is a person. Plain and simple. And so I feel that for a lot of you, this could be new love coming in for you. It doesn't have to be a water sign. King of Cups has been showing up for everyone, and I keep saying that. I just think King of Cups archetype is a very attractive archetype right now. Again, crazy things could be happening in the world, and on the positive side of things, the King of Cups is a type of person who always holds it together. He's sitting in choppy waters, you can see there, but he's perfectly fine. So it doesn't matter what gender you're attracted to or anything like that. I feel like you could just be attracting someone where banks could be collapsing, which we're going to see plenty more of that, as I've been saying. We're going to see plenty of other crazy stuff, more than that. But this person is able to always come up with something, always able to, hold it together. Again, he knows he controls his emotions, right? He doesn't let anything else control his emotions. So again, I kind of feel if you're looking for love, for most people, that's going to be attractive, at this time. You have this Lovers card, so definitely could be love. I also do feel that there is a new path for you here, Aquarius. So we've talked enough about love already. And I feel really with this and the Chariot, even the Two of Cups and the Ace of Swords as well, we'll talk about that in a minute, that there's like some sort of truth that you rather be living. I'm getting like the word time or something like that. It kind of feels like time. I'm wondering if you're thinking like, to start this business or to do whatever you want to do, like get this new job or career or to get a raise or promotion. It's almost like you're looking at the time or something. I need more details on this. With the Lovers, you have the Knight of Wands. It's like kind of going back and forth. I do get the back and forth energy here. I would be careful of any past people. Again, Mercury retrograde, back and forth energy. But what I would also say is, again, not calling you out here, but going this direction, Aquarius. It's like I get a little bit of back and forth energy from you. The Knight of Wands, and I'm not talking about love here. I'm talking about on something you want to do. It's like there could be a little bit of overthinking, or I kind of feel like sometimes maybe you get started and then you maybe pull back, right? On, projects, businesses, getting another job, improving your health, whatever it is you want to do. It's going to be different for all of you. And I feel like that Knight of Wands, Knight of Wands I consider to be like the true builder in the tarot. He wants to build something in his life. And, just looking at him here, I feel like maybe that's part of the problem is like, building takes time. Right? And I kind of get the feeling here in this reading that there's like I was saying time, sorry, I didn't switch, that there's like some sort of concern about wasting time or something like that popping into my head. And this could be in anything. With the King of Cups, you have the Devil. Part of me says like avoid past people for sure with this energy, but I also feel it could be a Capricorn coming in for you. On top of that, the Devil, there are those two people on a traditional Devil that have the animal horns, which represents like our baser instincts. And sometimes I think that it represents our creative, like our root chakra, our creative energy, needing to bring that up to our head and express it into the world. And what I would say, going to the Page of Pentacles to the Ace of Swords, I feel like there's something that needs to be expressed into the world, meaning like you want to create something, and it could be anything. Again, it doesn't have to be a business or a job. It could be a piece of art. It could be a YouTube video. It could be a poem you want to write. I don't care what it is. This is like saying you need to focus on it. And I feel like your focus, like, this Knight of Wands is like a hawk. The Ace of Swords is my card, a laser-like focus. So I feel focusing is going to be very beneficial. With the High Priestess, you have the Four of Pentacles. Again, leaving a comfort zone, going this way. Here to the Chariot, he's leaving that city behind him behind. And as I always say, that city is kind of where he grew up, but he can't be unique in that city. He can't be different. And there are also certain rules that he has to follow in that city. So he's leaving because he's looking for new rules. He's looking for a place where he can be himself, where he can live his truth, be unique. And that seems to be what you are doing here, Aquarius. Next, in your future position here, you have this card that says your commitment is being tested. I feel like this is like your commitment to success or your commitment to something that you are trying to accomplish. You have the Five of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles. It kind of reminds me like, I always used to get a lot of questions from people where they would say like, oh, I want to be a writer. Should I write this book? I'm like, well, real writers write. So the answer is yes, write it. And it doesn't matter if it's successful or not. And I know people don't want to hear this, but it's like if you want to be a writer, then you have to write. So I kind of feel that here with the Page of Pentacles. You also, I was also talking about kind of reinventing who you are in this reading. And, again, I feel like part of that is becoming like what you want to do. People always ask me about YouTube. And then they like, I've helped a lot of people on YouTube, and a lot of them, not a criticism, because again, without trying, we won't know. But a lot of them do like 2 videos and they're like, I don't have 1 million subscribers yet. I'm like, yeah. takes a long ass time. I've been doing this for 8 years. It took me, well over 4 years before I even got to, even starting to get to where I'm at right now, right? And then it took like a good, I think it was like after 7 years is when I really started exploding. So, it takes like basically the last year or I should say the past few years, but, it takes a long time. And so I feel like this is talking about practice, the Page of Pentacles, and just, putting in the work. And I feel like for some of you, it's like you're not getting the results you desire in some area of your life. And I do feel this reading is encouraging you to not give up. It's like saying, don't give up before you get your reward. You've already put in a lot of work. I find that in life, I've just seen it happen where people kind of put in this much work, right? And they only have this much left, and that's where they give up, is when they have this much left. And that's where I feel like you're at. It's like you're this close to something, to a victory, both ways. We go to a victory here. Chariot and the Ace of Swords both represent a big win, and that's your outcome for this week. So, again, I feel this is saying don't give up. The Four of Cups can also represent mixing things together. I always say that these 4 cups, maybe he's trying to manifest a cake, but he's got the flour, the sugar, the eggs, but he's just missing mixing it all together. And I kind of feel some of you are at that stage where it's okay, now you have to mix everything together and see what the problem is. I always tell the story. It's for years as well, after I had a big business failure, it's I kept overdrafting my bank account. It was a story. It was always $800, and I always managed to pull my ass out of it, right? Every single time I managed to do something to make $800 or to make whatever I needed to make, right? To pull myself out. But it's what I wasn't seeing is the fact that, number one, I could have easily changed that story. I could have easily, paid more attention, gotten a job, more importantly, or done other things. But also, it's it's one of those things where I could have, just paid more attention. Like I said, I don't know, I lost my train of thought there, but I'm sure we'll come back to it in a minute. You have the Five of Cups here, disappointments. Five of Cups is about needing to be grateful for what you have, and he has these 2 cups behind him. And the whole point of gratitude is when he sees the 2 cups, he also sees this bridge in this castle over here. So I feel for a lot of you, this is basically saying that you need to turn around and be grateful for what you have. And where I was going with that story is a couple of the times I did start a business one time, a little side thing that made me $800 really, really quickly, but I just quit after that because I had the money. The pain was not enough to keep me going. And, I kind of feel that for some of you here. It's there could be some disappointments. Are you going to stay in the disappointment, or are you going to realize that the universe is trying to say hey, there's something more for you, and maybe you should push through this little challenge if you're experiencing a challenge so that you can have a true victory. With the Five of Cups, you have the Eight of Wands. Yeah, I would be careful of the past. Everybody's had something about the past this week. Again, Mercury retrograde. If you don't want to hear from this person, I would definitely block or, whatever. Someone could be telling you that they have major regrets. And again, too bad, so sad, as I always say. It's they should have realized it. With the 4 of Cups, you have the 6 of Swords, moving on to calmer shores. It's funny that I said choppy waters with the King of Cups, which you have right here. And then you have the 6 of Swords over here. I'm wondering if some of you cut someone out very quickly, The 6 of Swords, the Ace of Swords, both kind of about making a sacrifice. There's a palm frond right here on the Ace of Swords, and the palm frond represents making a sacrifice. It's one thing that it can represent. And the 6 of Swords, the woman and the child in the boat, they only have the clothing on their back. They're leaving everything behind them, and they're moving across the choppy water. So some of you, this is a rip the Band-Aid off situation where some of you maybe left a relationship and just completely left it. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Swords, definitely your truth, some sort of truth here. Someone could be apologizing and coming in with the truth, but again, I would be careful here, Aquarius, if you don't want to know the truth. For others, I feel this is a victory that, and the Page of Pentacles is really saying a new direction is going to be the thing that leads to this victory. And you have the Ace of Swords twice here. Next, in your outcome position, you have this Truth Be Told card. So for some of you, I do feel there could be a truth coming in. I still feel that if a person's coming in to tell you the truth as well, the mask is still on this card. So it's they might be telling you a truth, but it might be a half-truth. And so, again, I would be very, very careful of that. More importantly, I feel like this is you opening up to your bliss, which we see with the Chariot, the Two of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. Even outside of love, the Two of Cups can be you in your higher self. So, as I always say, the Two of Cups can just be you communicating with your higher self, like through dreams, daydreams. I also find that you have the Knight of Wands here. So, I find with the Knight of Wands, sometimes we are led by our inspirations or our desires. We just simply desire to do something, so we need to do it, right? We need to move in that direction. And I think that's what you're learning to do here. It's like I get a little bit of messiness here, but not like in a bad way. I mean, like they say, to bake a cake, you have to break a couple of eggs, right? And so I feel like for some of you, it's like you could be doing some experimentation, just being creative. Again, being truly creative means being messy. We have to be messy to be creative. We have to not be afraid to make mistakes to be creative. And, I see a lot of you with that Two of Cups. It's like your higher self is encouraging this. You have the Chariot, so definitely setting yourself apart. I do feel there is a victory coming in for you with the Chariot, or some sort of win. Also, this card represents as above, so below, so definitely using your powers of manifestation. You have the Ace of Swords, which again is a victory. It can also represent cutting something out or sacrifice. But you can see here, there's a palm front here, which represents a sacrifice. Olive branch over here, which can represent an offer of peace, but can also just represent abundance. Really, for you, I feel like this is talking about focus, like focusing on one thing, making it successful. And that's what I feel like you could be doing here, Aquarius. With the Chariot, you have the Queen of Wands. There you go. Much better. I feel like you're going from the Knight of Wands to the Queen of Wands. I really don't feel like this is a person. Again, if you had, don't get me wrong, if you had an inconsistent person in the past, yes, that Knight of Wands could be that person. But again, for the most part, I feel like you are going from the Knight of Wands to the Queen of Wands. That's the energy that I get from this reading. You're more bold, more assertive, again, more willing to take a risk. She has no protection from fire, the Queen of Wands. The Page, Knight, and King, they all have salamanders on their cloak, and that represents protection from fire, but she does not have salamanders on her card on a traditional, Rider-Waite tarot. So, she's not protected from risk, but it really represents the fact that, number one, she doesn't care what anyone thinks. Number two, she learns as she goes. She's willing to learn as she goes, and I feel that for a lot of you, where it's like you might not know what you're doing, but, you could be learning as you go. With the Two of Cups, you have the Seven of Wands. If you want love, I do feel like there is a protected connection coming in for you. It's like really meant for you and stuff. And with the Ace of Swords, you have the Seven of Cups here. We talked about this. Like, you always get this card. I'm always like, Aquarius, you have to bring this down to earth, right? So I feel like you've gone from like a very dreamy time. I'm not too worried about this though, because again, I really feel Saturn and Pisces is going to be very helpful for you, especially when it comes to your finances, your values, anything that you work on to earn as well. That just popped into my head. That could be like your health, your health, wealth, and happiness, relationships, anything you work on, right? That you value could be being benefited by that Saturn and Pisces energy. So, I kind of feel like you are manifesting those things on Earth. But we're going to see what's going on for you. You have this October card and this Throne card. It says position of authority. For whatever reason, the words return to dreams are popping into my head. But, maybe I kind of feel like some of you, it's such a weird feeling. I am not getting anything about this. Although I do feel whatever you're accomplishing could lead to a position of authority here, Aquarius. But intuitively, I'm getting something about like, I think you've forgotten about an idea or something that maybe you had in October. And it's like some of you, it's like all of a sudden you could be like, oh my God, I remember that I wanted to do, write this book or start this business, or I wanted to go try this dating app, or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Doesn't matter. It's like all of a sudden it's returning. That's what I mean by return to dream, or whatever that word was popped into my head. You have this basket card. It says recognition, reward for merit. Yeah, a lot of cards of recognition here. Chariot even. Ace of Swords as well. Not really a card of recognition, but it kind of can be a card of recognition. There's normally that crown on the top of the sword, and it can represent kind of like getting into a position of authority. You also have this crown card that says honor and respect will come to you. So again, some of you, like whatever you're working on, it's going to lead to, honor, respect, probably some sort of victory. Again, I am getting as well, if you want a raise or promotion, now would be the time to ask, because I got it on that Six of Pentacles, and I'm getting it on this crown. Or if you just want a better job, I think now would be the time to look. You have this career card, so again, some of you could be kind of improving in your career. And you have this cracked cup. It says dissatisfaction with life, 4 cups, 5 of cups. I think you need to let this motivate you. Again, like I said, I told you the story about overdrafting, right? Many years ago in my life. But again, it wasn't painful enough. You know what I mean? It's like, it didn't hurt enough to motivate me. And so don't get to that point, right? It should have. It should have. That should have been extremely painful, but it's like, I don't know, I had a lot going on at the time. I wasn't in a great place, so it's like mentally, I'm sure it probably was at the bottom of the list. I didn't even care, but it's like, it should have hurt way more. So, I feel for a lot of you, this is saying before something gets that bad, improve it. I'm not saying this is a bad reading either. It could just be some sort of problem or something you want to overcome. And it's probably going to lead to good results, but I feel like you have to kind of not let it get bad. So, looks pretty good here, Aquarius. Thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your week.